Hi everyone, I'm Holly. I am the maker and doer of all the things here at Missouri River Soap. And today I'm doing something I've never done before. I've always wanted to do it, and that's make eggnog soap. I have just always desired this. Every single year I want to make eggnog soap. Well, here's the thing. I want to pick a brand that is a cleaner brand. This one is Organic Valley, and what does it say? It's organic, non-GMO. The ingredient list is rather small. It's organic grade A milk, cane sugar, cream, egg yolks, milk, more milk, fat-free milk, organic natural flavor. Now, I'm not sure about that one. Organic nutmeg and gellan gum. Is it gellan gum? Anyway, this is one of the cleanest that I can get. And the reason why I don't tend to make the eggnog soap is because you can't get the cleaner ones, at least wherever I've been, until December. And by then, we're past holiday soap making time. But I thought, you know what? I want to do it. It's just for fun. I'm not going to sell it. So why don't I just make it? And we'll do a video about it. And we'll just see how it turns out. So that's what we're going to do today. Isn't this cow so cute? I don't know. Some of you will know that I come from cattle ranchers in Wyoming, and so I just love cows. This is a milk cow, but you know. Alright, so I'm going to go work on my recipe, and then I need to prep. I've not done anything. I am fresh out to my workshop. I've not done my recipe. I've not measured out my lye solution, melted my oils, etc. So I thought, you'll come along with me. We'll do the thing. Let's make eggnog soap. Alright, so I have my cup here. I'm using a 1,000 milliliter, and this is science grade for a lye solution. And you don't have to worry about like glass breaking. I don't recommend glass. I don't like it. Another great option for mixing a lye solution is like a stainless steel frothing pitcher. I have a whole bunch of those. I need to get them out because I do like them quite a bit. Alright, so we decided on 12.8 ounces of water. Now, I filmed a whole section of going over the recipe. I don't know if I'm going to leave that in or not. We'll see how that video turned out. We're going to do 12.8 ounces. I'm doing a 60 ounce batch. I'm going to use 12.8 ounces of the water. Now, I'm going to suit up for safety. So I'm going to put on my mask. I'm going to have my goggles. I'm going to mix up my lye solution. So I just don't talk. I'm going to put it over by the window so that it can air out, and then I will come back and measure out the oils. I like to use a food grade. That means its purity is a little bit higher. This is from Bill Chemicals in Billings, Montana. I just got in a 50, not a 50 pounds. Is it 50 pounds? I got in a bucket from Adobe Energy. So that's what I'm switching over to. With their, you always have to look at shipping. You can't ever just look at the price of a product. You have to look at the shipping too. So it ended up winning out. Alright, let's measure out our hard oil and butters. So we need to do 4.8 ounces of mango butter, and then 2.4 shea and 2.4 kokum. Now, what are you? We're gonna do shea. 4. Doesn't take much for these little batches. Okay. I do new gloves for each butter so I don't cross-contaminate them. So now we're going to do, this is kokum, so we also want 2.4. That was close. 2.4. I had bought some mango a while back to do like some lip balms from New Directions, and so I am just going to, wow, these gloves all of a sudden are like, it's almost like they're doubled. That's a funky feeling. Anyway, I'm using this up before I move on to my restock from Natural Bulk Supplies. And then we needed 4.8 of this mango. My soaping oils I tend to keep separate from my oils for the other projects. So for like lip balms and everything, I just don't use the same things. All right, 4.8. And so now we need to do coconut. My coconut is actually from Natural Bulk Supplies, but I've been putting them back in this bucket because they come very oddly. In fact, I have some right here, so I'll show you. I bought 28 pounds because I didn't need a whole lot, and they come like this. And it's kind of irritating, but I get it done. You can break it up and it comes out fairly easily. So now we need 12 ounces, and I just keep a chisel around, my coconut oil chisel. All right. And then I'm just going to gently melt this on my stovetop. I don't want it to get too hot. I just want it to melt. That way I can soap faster. My lye solution is sitting in front of my window, so it'll cool fairly quickly. But I do need to prep. I'm actually prepping for a couple other batches today. I need smaller pieces. I'm not used to needing such small chunks. Except for I'm making another batch that does have a very small portion because I'm splitting it up into 2. Alright, there we go. That looks good. Okay, so let's prep the freezer paper. So I have my mold here. It's just a wooden mold that my husband made for me. And it is 18 by 2.5. And then this is about not quite 4 3/4. This did not have to be super precise. The other measurements are precise. So this loaf is going to just be 18 by 2.5 and then 3.5. And so if you're wondering how to calculate your volume on a mold like this, you would multiply 18 by 2.5 by 3.5 by 0.40, and that for this situation came up with 63. That's 63 ounces, and I'm doing a 60-ounce batch, so 60-ounce oil. So that works great. So I already have my little end pieces that are going to go down in here. We can go ahead and just put those in. Like so. Alright, so I know that I like 6.5 to go from in here, from the bottom, up the side, and over. So I am going to mark 6.5, and then the base is 2.5. So that's another 2.5, and then I need another 6.5. So there. And so this will just drape like so. And that's why I like 18-inch freezer paper, because it's just going to go right there. I do have a roll of it. The Silly Stuff is only 17.5 from Amazon, so that's a bit of a situation. So I use it, but I didn't feel like messing with that today and making all its little adjusted pieces. Alright. And I will be using this again to line other molds. Give that a fold on the lines. This should be ready just to lay right in. And I just keep some masking tape here. A little wrinkly on the bottom. It does actually fit in there very well in general. Yeah, that's fine. Freezer paper almost always will have a little just droop on the bottom. That's why I just love cutting slices off the end of a loaf, or the sides of a big slab. So now the mold is ready. I'm going to work on my other ones before I film the rest of the oil portion. Alright, so my hard oils are nicely melted here. They're not too hot. So once I add my liquid oils to them, and my lye solution has been cooling for, actually it's been hour and a half or so already, then we should be good to go. Might be a hint warm, but it'll be fine. Alright, so we've put in the coconut, the mango, the shea, and the kokum. So now we need to put in some apricot oil. I'm going to do 2.4 ounces of the apricot oil. Okay. So we've done that. That's the bottom of my list. So I'm going to go up to Castor, which is 7.2. Add that in. I get most of my supplies from either Wholesale Supplies Plus or Natural Bulk Supplies. 7.2. I better focus. And just a drip. This little drip, you can do it. Oh, more than that little drip though. Bloop. There we go. We're also going to add the sodium lactate into this, and that's 1.2 ounces. I guess I have some here from, this is actually Natural Bulk Supplies. And then let's do the olive. And so we need 28.8 ounces of olive oil. If I were using micas, I would hold some of that back to mix with my colors. But I'm doing unscented, no colors. And so we're just going to do 28.8. Looks like I have enough in this bottle. so we have done the olive, the coconut, the castor, the mango, shea, kokum, and apricot. We have it all in there. So we are going to pour the hard oils. I'm going to make it in this particular contraption. The pour spout is on the opposite side for me, so I probably didn't need to use it. I think we're going to go ahead and measure out the eggnog because I do want it to warm up just a little bit. I don't want to put it in at refrigerator temperature. And then we decided on 4 ounces of, why'd you go backwards? Oh, this is a kind of a thin eggnog. I bet it smells amazing though. I can smell it in here. All right, 4 ounces. Oh my goodness, that looks delicious. Oh, it's so good. And now I think I'll take this into my humble abode because my son will probably drink this. Oh, it's so pretty with the speckles from the spices. Love that. So, one thing I'm trying to decide is if I want to sprinkle maybe a little cinnamon on top. Now, where's my nutmeg? Nutmeg is what I should sprinkle on the top. However, I don't want it to bleed out. And sometimes that, you know, just bleeds and then it's not as pretty. So I really don't think I'm going to mess with it. All right, well, it's future Holly and I am getting ready to cut this soap. But I needed to pop in and tell you that the file from the second camera for the soap making process was corrupted. And so I don't have the video, and it's obvious when I'm making the soap that I focus on the other camera. And so I just wanted to say that I don't have that. I feel like the video as a whole is still worth posting. So I hope that you enjoy the soap making process anyway. So I will see you back here after that. These gloves are really throwing me off because they're so thick. It's just wacky. So I don't know if you've noticed at all, we have no snow. And it is very sad because it's December 14th and we have no snow. So what happened was we warmed up and the atmospheric river came through. We've had inches of rain. It has dried out this weekend, but we're supposed to get another atmospheric river tomorrow. And we have the neighbors up the road in Libby are flooding very, very badly. And it is very sad. Sometimes I feel bad about having a good day, but I'm going to have a good day, I guess. Anyway, I love this eggnog. It smells so good. I did warm it up just a little bit. I love eggnog, but I can't drink it because of the sugar and the carbs. So that's why I love my wax melts and my sugar scrubs and stuff. And a lot of people are like, well, I can't use them because they're just going to make me hungry. Well, I use them because I can enjoy a scent of something that I can't enjoy otherwise. So I guess it just depends on who you are. All right, let's check some temps here. My oils are actually pretty dang cool. I probably could heat them up a smidgen. They're 72. My, you are not either that warm. It says it's 100 and, there we go. It's like 95. And then, don't be stupid. My lye solution is 98. So I'm actually going to see if I can warm this up a bit. I'm just going to pop it into the microwave today, the microwave. But a lot of times I will just put it in like a water bath and just let it come back up that way. You can tell I don't use my microwave that much because this one doesn't actually fit in it. So we're rolling with it because I am not going to boil water and do all the things. My husband needs to go to town to get mortar because he's tiling our bathroom and I do not want to stop that process. Alrighty, so let's do this thing. this camera good? It doesn't look very good, but it'll be fine. All right, so the first thing is adding in the eggnog. In it goes. Oh my goodness, I changed it into this little cup for pictures and gave it just a smidgen extra. Now this is just a very testy type batch. I'm feeling very casual. Everything is fun and fine. What is happening? Now, there are some additives. I am fogging up. There are some additives in this, and I don't feel comfortable making a product with that I would sell. I'm okay making a test to see what happens and see how it goes, but, you know, what is happening? So yeah, I'm happy making a test, doing something for us. I try to stay away from additives. You don't want to put a bunch of junk in your soap. For like the coconut milk I use, for instance. I love this Native Forest Simple because it is organic coconut milk and then parentheses organic coconut and filtered water. So I love using this coconut milk, and I love coconut milk in soap. But like we were walking through Costco the other day and they had organic coconut milk, and I was like, oh, so cool. And I looked and there was some stuff in it. So I didn't want to use it. I'm taking a little bit of risk on this one with the natural flavors and the Gallon gum. I don't love that, but again, it's just a test. It's just for fun, and that's what we're doing today. All right, in with the lye solution, and it is a little bit on the warm side, but we'll be fine. Let's just see what happens around these parts. Now, if someone wanted to do a full milk soap, what you would do is like take the eggnog and, I don't want it to scorch, take the eggnog and freeze it, and then you would use the frozen milk to mix with your lye solution very slowly in an ice bath, so you don't want to scorch it. Caution with buttermilk. Every time I did buttermilk, it would curdle. I just don't have time for this funny business. I don't have time to freeze things. I don't have time to thaw things, and a lot of times the fats will curdle and be weird, and I just don't like it. So I have found that I love just adding milk into the oils. I've been doing it for years and years and years and years and years and years. I tend to mix for a count of 30. This is a pretty small amount. It's looking very good. We're just emulsified. I can see the specks. It is super cute. I guess this other camera is kind of zoomed out for today. It's going to be a pretty standard unscented soap, I think. It is turning a little bit yellow. The lye solution is reacting with the eggnog. It smells good. Sometimes it just smells like soap. Sometimes milks will kind of create an ammonia type scent. I'm not getting that from here. I have soaped with eggs before. So it's looking very nice. And I am a room temp soaper. That's just how it is. I don't typically soap with any one of my products at 99 degrees, but we're doing good. It looks like we have a very light trace coming on. There are those, they have like nutmeg and cinnamon. Any spices will accelerate a batch, so that's always something to keep in mind. Now, I don't want to pour this into my mold this thin. It is just going to seep and make a mess. And so I do want it more of a medium. So you can you see the trace it's making? So a lot of times I just go to emulsification, and that is just before a trace. The oils in lye are all mixed. So we're getting, oh, this is getting nice. So this is still thinnish, but it is getting a little bit thicker. So this is getting very nice. I love it. So let's pour. I think I'll put it kind of over to the other camera so maybe you can see the pour a little bit better. There's not a lot of speckles here. Let's see. Maybe I should go this way. All right, let's just go this way. I would say we're at a medium trace now, which means it's moving along fairly well for an unscented. So that's where that's coming in, the temperature is coming in. I do want this to gel. That is another benefit to not using a lot of milk, is that it's a lot easier to keep it from cracking and splitting and overheating, because I don't have that much milk and that much sugar from the batch. Some people will put them in a freezer. I don't ever want to put things in a freezer. So, and I'm certainly not going to mix anything with my personal freezers, and I don't have a freezer that would hold a mold. So, you know, it's just one of those things I don't do. So, but I am going to gel this. So even though I soap at room temperature, the room temperature helps me to be able to work with it for a longer amount of time. And then it's still going to come up to temperature. And it does help when I'm working with honeys and milks and stuff to start at a lower temperature overall. So overall, I would say this went really, really well. There's some speckles that I'm seeing on this top. That's cute. I'm just hoping this will be like a creamy yellow. More than likely, it's just going to be cream colored. I do like to smack out the air bubbles. This is just very smooth. This batch went together very, very well. It is a good recipe. Now, cold processed soap does have to cure for 4 to 6 weeks at minimum. It's just going to get better and better. Oh, that was rude. It's just going to get better. So it ages well. It's best to just let it cut it and let it just set for a long time. Oh, it's going to be so good. Doesn't it look great? It's so shiny and beautiful. It's setting up enough that it's not just like running all over in the mold. So like where I cleaned off the edges, it's still cleaned off. We could zhuzh it a little bit, which I do think we should. So let's bring in a trusty spoon. What should we do? Oh yeah, that's a nice texture. Let me think for an uno momento. Goggles have got to go back on. What am I doing today? All right, I think I'm just going to I guess I'll just do my regular in one, in on the other, and then down the middle, because I just want it to be creamy and dreamy, a little bit of texture, nothing crazy. In fact, I think I'm just going to leave this. I think I'm just going to do that. That looks great, actually. Doesn't that look awesome? All right, so there we have it. I am going to clean up, and then I will be back in a couple of days and we'll cut it and see what it looks like together. Okay, so I am here to unmold and cut this soap, and I have done it again. I cannot get this masking tape off very easily with my gloves on. If I can kind of get my nail under there. So it looks very pretty. The spices that we're kind of showing have bled a bit on the top. And so I am glad I did not put any additional spices on the top. So let us see how it turned out. hopefully this other camera will not mess up again. I decided I better move this camera back so that you could see me just on the off chance that this one is not focusing appropriately. Here it goes. Oh, you can really see those speckles in there. That's interesting. It's nice and hard. It smells like a milky soap. Nothing special or unusual about the scent. It's actually finally snowing a little bit. I'm very excited. I think I made this on the 14th and I'm cutting it on the 18th. I'll just show you. Do you see the speckles? This one specifically, how it is bleeding. That just means that the color is kind of seeping around it. There's nothing really wrong with it. It's just, you know, a design thing, appearance thing. All right, let's see. So you'll still be able to see over here, just on the off chance that my camera decides to be stubborn again. Well, it looks very normal. A lot of times unscented soaps will darken up around the outside where it gets the air, and the inside will remain kind of creamier, but that will change. Okay, here goes. I love this top. Oh, this is so pretty. Look at it. That is just a pretty, beautiful bar of soap. I'm going to absolutely adore using this. The scent of it, the milky scent, is very nostalgic. It reminds me of one of the very first batches that I made. Wow, that's really fun. Oh, you can really see, look at that, those spices. You couldn't really see that before. Now I'm obviously going to put it on the curing rack, and I'm going to have to watch it. Who knows how this soap is going to be in 6 months working with the eggnog. I really don't know. So it's just something I will have to monitor. But otherwise, this is just a really, really lovely batch. And since I'm not planning on selling it, there's just no pressure for it to turn out perfect. I don't have to worry if it does develop some DOS, dreaded orange spots, or the spices bleed too much. I feel very confident in the batch. It's just some of that extra stuff that is in the eggnog. I just don't know what it's going to do. So let's cut this last part. And this is just going to be great fun soap for us to use. And I really don't think the eggnog is going to be anything spectacular other than kind of like label appeal and just fun. So for us, it's just going to be an unscented soap to use. It's not going to be like, oh, that's Christmassy, because it's not going to be. It's just going to be a milky soap. With the coloring, the color is just absolutely beautiful. It is more creamy. It's just not really that yellow overall, but it's still beautiful. I'll give you an up close here just in case I need to. Isn't it pretty? It's just a lovely batch of soap. I really hope that you have enjoyed the making of this eggnog soap. It's just kind of a test. I had lots of fun. I've been making soap since 2008, and sometimes just taking a batch just to do something fun is just good for the soul. I would have loved to put in some cinnamon or clove or nutmeg essential oils. There were some discrepancies between the suppliers on usage rate, EO calc. The supplier that I have my cinnamon and clove from, they don't even give information anymore on these particular ones, basically because the usage rate is basically 0 in soap now, so you're just not supposed to use it there. So Bramble Berry has one that says like 6%. EO calc, as a general rule, they were like 1% was fine, but if I added some nutmeg into it, it changed it to you couldn't add any cinnamon or clove. So it was just one of those things, it was safest not to put it in. And you know me, I do love an unscented soap. All right, I'm gonna get back to packing orders. My products are available at moriversoap.com. You can find us on Facebook and on Instagram, and you can sign up for emails on our website to be in the know for releases and such. I hope everyone has a very happy holiday season, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.